June 9th, the day before Stonehenge, and July 10th, the day after Stonehenge. The 12th, Stonehenge versus the 11th is the 11 ticks of Disney through 11 centuries, 11 decades, 11 years, 1100 years versus each computer, each information picture, each data in America versus each disappearing people, each Apple iPhone, each state of government, each church from yesterday, from the days before I ordered the Apple iPhone, my new desktop transfer after my second top Rogers recovery, my new order of desktop versus drive versus state versus a mix of programs versus Amundsen Pawn Shop versus old technology versus old school and 90s versus new school versus a certain time of football, basketball with no location versus a boundary woman. It was Khadija and Desiree, and it could be a diamond. It could be a woman that could relate to a certain tribe of power versus a woman who's skinny, smells, skin doesn't sweat, smells good, light on her feet, light on her arms, big boned, very graceful, and travels of Carmen San Diego type of Amazon travel to Oregon, and then a type of Carmen San Diego this Christmas travel to Florida, and then whatever travel to the east up top, and travel to Manhattan, and travel to the east down low, and travel to ATL, and all of the places in between before 1700 and all the places after 1900. Whenever I was 14 versus Ace Hardware, and then whenever 2017 with an age and date on both sides of that number versus Chase Park, Ross, and Uptown, and then whatever on one side of the Chicago River, Skokie Lincoln, and the other side toward the lake going toward a bridge uh, to the figure eight versus Illinois turn flat to the side of the bottom of the lake and North Continent. Illinois as a description of a government state through the border versus Illinois as a scripture, as a stitcher, as a world of cities, and then just other states compared to the boundary of Illinois and other boundaries of other states compared to specific cities, specific locations, the lake versus airspace, energy, and time versus the Chicago River versus schools, elementary, sunlight, and then the flow of the river versus the flow of Des Plaines versus the city versus the lake dividing two parts of the nation versus the river dividing two parts of the continent, district side, some place with no district, some places with no area, some places with no subsidized high school administration and no American government relation to Illinois bank account versus desktop one. And banks could be not building crushed down, but it could be a time frame where I keep my money, and then Illinois versus internet business versus desktop one, all information in one place, where I go, where I'm located, how I store my files, how I store my American business in a certain place to keep it safe, uh, and whatever Illinois American Bank or European uh, insurance bank or whatever top upstairs tower versus Europe, and bottom on the other side of America versus Chicago, and the other side of Europe on the other side of the world. Going to the left toward the other side of the world of Chicago, going to the right would give the lake an atmosphere besides a flat building of highways, and it would give uh, the winter 2022 has two winters, two ages, two sides of year, one age half, one date half, 1 month at the end of the year versus one day at the beginning of the year versus we got to see who won the third game, which will be going on today. Timu versus a laptop original order, and then cell phone versus a tablet order, and then video game system versus an order from eBay, and then candy store, ice cream, coffee store versus an order from a different store website where people sell different products with no marking and label that could possibly get people sick or exchange the theft of information for people to study people's data and get information and try to market and link it to the Commonwealth while they get to be free and make specific connections to cloud storage and with information systems of arranging things the public can access in a specific arrangement of information at a